Saunders.
And I amend to my declaration of interest in terms of property ownership. Now then, reducing the climate impact of Wales, 1.1 million privately owned homes is an immense challenge, because we all know that the privately owned sector makes up over 80% of the total housing stock. However, whilst welcoming this report, I do have concerns because of those figures. 80% of the total housing stock in Wales. That's the larger part of the equation that needs solving, if you like. And this particular focus of the Welsh Government has been on the social housing. The optimised retrofit programme was aimed at social housing. Now, Minister, you've claimed that this is because of the sector where you are most able to set direction and influence. But for climate change goal targets, we've got to really embrace properties of all natures, be it in the private rented sector, be it privately owned, and the rental sector. We need a long-term housing decarbonisation strategy and firm policies and programmes. Now, in response to Recommendation 1, you note that officials are working with the Decarbonisation Implementation Group to set up and implement a residential housing decarbonisation route map for Wales. When will this map, what will it look like, and when will it be published? Recommendation 2, you state the group are only at the initial stage of identifying relevant themes and actions at a strategic level. I suppose really, again, it's all about timescales, isn't it? We know that clock is ticking. It does feel rather like one of those large egg timers, and the sand is really slipping down. Now, the Warm Homes programme appears to have been judged as failing to deliver at scale and pace too. And honestly, it does sound a bit negative what I'm saying, but I'm not trying to be negative, I'm trying to be constructive. It's a mammoth task, and really what I'm looking for, certainly as a member of this committee, is to go forward knowing, how we can put some meat on the bone, some timescales in place. Nest was supposed to end in March, but as of yesterday, applications for support could still be submitted. What steps are you taking to incentivise those who can afford to pay to invest in decarbonising their homes? It's fair to say there are people who are already now awake and alive to the fact that, they cannot continue throwing so much energy at, within their own homes, because there's the cost of it now after the Ukraine situation and war. But there's also, too, people are becoming more aware of individual responsibility when it comes to tackling, the climate change agenda. Government can't do everything. The response to Recommendation 14 does lack some clear commitment to removing the planning requirements for air source heat pumps. For instance, they cannot be installed within 3 metres of a boundary without permission. And air source heat pumps are set to be with us for the future. And, I've always maintained when I've been in committee inquiries like this, that it's only one solution. And I think, well, Jenny's not here, but I think Joyce has made a comment. Not only is this about new...
just for the record,
Jenny, I can see you there. I do beg your pardon. Hi, Jenny. I was saying that you've been quite a strong advocate. It's not about how we can replace the types of energy going into homes. It's about how we can also insulate and prevent good heat from, as you call it, warming the birds. I acknowledge that Rent Smart Wales is not responsible either for the MEES enforcement. But I believe, Minister, and you did mention some time ago you were going to review the remit of Rent Smart Wales, but I actually, and this came up in evidence taken, that I actually believe there's a good remit there for maybe Rent Smart Wales to get involved. They can collect data on, on individual properties or at a grander scale in different sections. So what plans have you got to review Rent Smart Wales and maybe broaden their remit in terms of helping you and your government to be able to deliver a really good, comprehensive and effective retrofitting programme. The committee has been clear that they have an important role to play in changing consumer behaviour, combined with appropriate financial support. Now, during the 5th Senedd, the Welsh Government ruled out the use of tax-based incentives, but indicated it would be willing to re-examine its position, depending on any evidence that comes forward from the advisory group. So, I know people have looked at the use of council tax, but what progress has been made on that? The reply to recommendation 27 refers to the council tax reform process, but that's not even at phase 2. Some more urgent action is needed, Minister. Will you outline all the fiscal incentives the Welsh Government will take this financial year to incentivise the able-to-pay sector to decarbonise? Another issue I've raised in the committee is about, with the rented social market, is where you've got really good incentives and pilots wanting to take place, but residents almost appear, not to want these schemes implemented in their own homes, which would, certainly save them money and would help them to contribute towards this agenda. So again, how are you using your powers within Welsh Government to ensure that these kind of barriers can be, overcome? Thank you. Diolch.